Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, as of 4 days ago, I asked, would you like to see a War of Rights about Cry of Freedom comparison? 61% of you said yeah, so here we are, let's get into it. So, for this comparison, I'll be talking about certain things within each game, Battle Cry of Freedom and War of Rights. So, these aspects we'll be talking about are artillery, infantry, maps, realism, miscellaneous, and game modes. These games will obviously have different areas. War of Rights may have only, from what I know right now, only have infantry and artillery, and only have one game mode, as the other game mode they had, which was Picket Patrol, was removed. Battle Cry of Freedom has multiple game modes, so we'll get into that first, and I'll talk about that. So the first aspect that comes with Battle Cry of Freedom is that you're able to customize your own character. You can choose an accent, Northern or Southern, depending on if it's a Rebel or a Union player. You can choose their own logos, they can choose their own faces, they can choose what company they want to design, so you can choose the 54th Massachusetts, the 2nd US. You can either swap to Confederacy, so you can choose like a Virginia regiment. And then you can also design your own character with what rank. So I use second sergeant, so I've got my sergeant stripes right there in the center. I could choose my backpack, I could choose my leggings, so I can have like a little stripe down. Could choose what one I carry. I can take off the backpack. I can change my kepi if I want it like smushed forward, if I want it flat on the top, and I can also add like inscriptions. So I can add like a little cross with like my the core badge. So at the moment I think there's only like the second core or the fifth core in the game. Until then I'll be using no badges, and then I'll choose ninth core. So here we can see all of the different companies and regiments in the game. So at the moment for the Unions, 20th Michigan I believe, 72nd Pennsylvania, 54th Massachusetts, 2nd US, and these become with all the different, you know, staff within the game. The infantry, so you got regimental staff, major colonel, sergeant majors, color guard. You can use swords with the colors. You can play as like field music, so you can take a bugle or a drum, or even a fife. You have different companies. You got players like your captain, your lieutenants, your corporals, your sergeants, even though your bugler there, and which is more than a War of Rights at the moment, where it's all like infantry, flag bearer, bugler, field music, your stuff here, and then your captain, your lieutenants. So there's a bit more you can do in BCOF at the moment, which is pretty cool. And even you can get your artillery, so your artillery characters there. You can all different roles, and then your specialist roles. So you like your medics, your sapper, so they can like make ammo crates and walls and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And then you got your angry mob militia, so your civilians. So if you want to play artillery, you have to go to the artillery piece spawner. You have a different option between all of them. As you can see, I have 26 cannon points at the top, so I can choose between any of the ones available. Each one costs a different amount of points. So the one I went with is a 20 points Napoleon. The field guns are a lot more, they're about 40 to 60 points. So if you want to operate a cannon, you need to get a sponge from the cannon itself, a ramrod. You got to sponge it after you've fired. You don't need to sponge it initially. You got a different option of shells, so you got shell case, canister, you got shovels, pickaxes, hatchets. Those will give you more points. You can shovel grounds and shit. So you put the shell in because it doesn't need sponging initially. Ram it, and then you're able to aim it from the back. So you got to go into the shell spike to aim, and then you can fire it. So each one obviously a different range. You can change the fuse, so it can go further, or you can have it detonate earlier than you wanted to cause splash damage from, especially the K shots. And yeah, it's pretty simple stuff. You obviously got to account for wind, because wind is a factor in this game, especially when you're shooting a rifle. And you can see the iron sight there, it's so much better than War of Rights, you can see it perfectly. You prime it from the top, and then you can just fire it. You can see him cover his ears, which is pretty realistic because it's a loud fucking bang. So yeah, that's simple stuff. It's a lot more easy than War of Rights, to be honest. I actually do like it. So from what I know right now, there are 5 different game modes within Battlecry of Freedom. So for one of them is Commander Battle. Commander Battle is where you take control of a range of bots, 200 are the highest I've seen, to about, from the clip showing there, about 46. You take control of them, you eliminate your enemy with as much as you can. You can play as every other class: pioneers, main infantry, your artillery. You do all the bits. And then there's TDM, obviously, it's just team deathmatch. Everyone knows team deathmatch right now. There's Conquest, taking control of different points. Siege is where you one side attacks another side to claim 1 or 2 or 3 points. So once you take all the points, you win. Then there's Duel, where you melee each other, swords, bayonets, any of the other melee weapons, because sledgehammer, fucking brooms, a fucking fork. You can stab them with a fork somehow, I don't know. And then there's Battle. I'm not sure what's Battle yet, I've not played it, but I believe from the sound of it, it's just one side going against the other side. Shooting each other with the commanders. I'm not sure yet, I've not played it. Let me know in the comments if you have, but yeah. There's 5 different game modes. So when it comes to maps in Battlecry of Freedom, you can make your own maps at the moment with the map editor. So as you can see on screen now, that's me making a little map, the very start of it anyway, where you can have like different size maps, 200 by 200, 400 by 400, 600 by 600, and 800 by 800. And 800s are pretty big. So the one I'm doing there is 200 by 200, so imagine that 4 times the size. It's pretty big. With this, there's already 14 pre-made maps by the developers. I'll throw up on the screen now is Fort Henry Leon. It was in Virginia, it was a Union fort, and in real life it's called Fort Leon. It looks exactly like it is on the game. It looks pretty cool. Mortar pits on the left, we have the mortar pits there. This one here is Sharp's Farm. It's just a made map. I don't know if it's real, let me know in the comments if you know. The next one here is a river crossing map. Got like 2 crossings, got a nice little bridge there that's a point you can hold. There's a little crossing within the water with crash cannons. I'm enjoying making the maps. There's probably many more maps to come, and there's also random generated maps, which is just computer generated. It's just flat. So here for the miscellaneous stuff. At the moment, from what I've seen, I've not really used the admin menu yet myself, but I know what I have, as you can see on the screen there. The admins are able to give any weapons they want. So there's a blaster rifle, which you can see I'm using there, shoots little red lasers. You can have an admin shotgun that shoots a fuck ton of shotgun like pellets out of the end, takes down trees. It's amazing. There's the explosive musket, which shoots cannon shells, just explode and send you flying everywhere. At the moment as well, there's World War I weaponry, because obviously it has the workshop, so there's not DLCs, but like mods you can have. So World War I mods, we can shoot like this here. There's the MP18, which is fun to use. There's the Gewehr, there's the broom handle. I can't remember the actual name of it, but if you let me know, I'll probably remember. There's Lee Enfields you can mess around with. So yeah, and some other stuff that you can find within miscellaneous stuff is you can see bullet tracers, so you can see where the bullets are travelling if the admin turns them on. It shows a little green line or a purple line depending on what ammunition you use. So if you use buck and ball, there'll be a green and a purple. If you use shotgun, it'll be purple. But you'll see a little green line where bullet travel time and where it lands. There's also wind, you can turn it up and down, so as you can see at the top there, little lines. There's a little how strong the wind is, the direction it's going. So it's pretty good. It's got some nice realism factor in it, because obviously there will be wind. It's just the bullets fall off pretty quickly, which are annoying because especially if you want to shoot a certain distance, it falls off, so you might not be able to hit your target. So, for infantry on War of Rights, each map and each drill camp, so the US drill camp and the CSA drill camp, have their own set infantry. So on the maps, such as Fox's Gap, or Hooker's Push, or Douglas Church, they have the units that were there, that fought there. So it is historically accurate, and they're all set correctly. The drill camps, you can play any unit you want because it is a massive regimental base game. Each regiment has privates, drummer, bugler, a fifer, a flag bearer with accurate battle flags, NCOs, so your corporal, sergeant, first sergeant, sergeant major, and then your officers. The officers can have different pistols, so can the infantry, but they are locked to if they actually use that. So either the 1842, the Patton Enfield, or the 1861. So it will depend if they used it. So I'm here in the game there, playing as the 51st New York, as you know. So they lock to the Springfield 1861. The shooting is pretty accurate. You just point, shoot, but it will depend if you do hit them because there is a little bit of a bloom effect and drop off. Another thing to add is that all the units that are within War of Rights are units that fought at the Battle of Antietam, so you won't get any other units. For example, the 54th Massachusetts, as they were rallied in 1863, and the Battle of Antietam was obviously 1862. So yeah, we won't get any of the units past 1863, or any units that weren't at Antietam itself, which is pretty nice because obviously you want it to be a historically accurate game. So we will now get into some very nice artillery. So when we're getting into artillery, each artillery have their own different looks and how they are set out. So here we have the list. There are about 4 pages of artillery, or each artillery battery that was at Antietam. So we have Batty Glacier, Potts, Owen, they're all there. So when it comes to the actual soldier himself, they come spawned in already with a sword that you press 2 to get out, and also a ramrod. But depending on which class you take is whether you will get the sword, because it will depend, as I don't think all artillerymen had a sword, so it depends. It's just a chance. And the artillery that come in the game is the 12-pound Napoleon, the 3-inch ordnance rifle, and the 10-pound Parrot. So as you can see here on screen, there's a Napoleon. They're the big boys. They just got a lot of drop off, but they are powerful. So now on screen there is coming up to it anyway, is the 10-pound Parrot. So that shoots pretty straight, pretty powerful gun, and at the end there is the 3-inch ordnance. So as you can tell, they have different designs. They look pretty much similar to the real life counterpart, and the ammunition, as you'll see in the limber now, is pretty accurate as well. It's like a little slender shell or a case or canister. That's what they use, but they are pretty slender as the real life ones. The 10-pound they're similar to the 3-inch ones, so they are pretty much the same there. And then the 12-pound Napoleon, the chunky spherical ones. And yeah, the only ammunition, as I said then, was in the game at the moment is canister, case, and shell. And as well, the animation for loading the cannons are all the same, but they are pretty nice. So you sponge it, you grab the ammunition if you're on desire, shell if you want to blow up a line, case if you want to ricochet some shit around, and canister if you want to just completely wipe them out in advance. Put it in the front of the gun, go to the other side, ram it down with your ramrod, make sure it's all the way down there, And then once you've done that, you go to the cannon, you use your mouse keys, aim up and down, make sure the little iron sight thing at the front is on point, top of the cannon, prime it, and then fire it. The only issue is it's not, you don't, clean the sponge the gun with water, it's just a ram. So in War of Rights, they try and focus on, like I've said a million times already, for everything, is realism. So they are trying to make it as realistic to the events that happen there, and they even have the historical events to explain it all. So there's the burning Mama Farm, Dunker Church is going to be down there on the road to the left, and they try and make it close to each battle as they can. So there's Carlton Battery, there's Dunker Church in the back, and I'll put on the screen now Dunker Church. So you can see it was obviously had battles going on there, shell coals everywhere. There's Harper's Ferry, the CSA tried taking that did take in 1862, and there's Harper's Ferry there. They used it so they could take the armoury and then advance into the main battles at Sharpsburg, Bloody Lane, etc. So they do make it as close to the battle as they can, especially in the South Mountain. You've got Garland Stand, you've got Reno's Fall, and then you've got Harper's Ferry as shown there, where they took the Boulevard Heights camp, and you'll see that in the game. They try and make it as close to its counterpart that happened in the actual battle, which is very nice to have. So, at the moment, there only is one game mode, and that being pointing for contention, where one team has to capture a objective from the defending team. There was a other game mode called Picket Patrol, which I believe is just type of a TDM type of thing. You spawn next to each other and just start fighting. So there's not much going on, but recently there's been a leak of Conquest coming in. Don't know when that will be, but hopefully we'll have it soon. But yeah, it's, it can get repetitive with just points of contention, but it keeps the action going and it's kind of fun. So hopefully soon we'll see Conquest, but other than that it's just a single game mode. Yeah, so I'll leave it there. But yeah, I'm not going to go into the other two because there's not really much miscellaneous stuff. So we'll just leave it there, and then we'll just go into comparing both games, and that's it. So, this is my final verdict when it comes to which is better at what. So, for BCOF, I have said game modes, as there is more choices when it comes to playing the actual game. You have team deathmatch, you have commander battles, you have the conquest, so there's more variety when it comes to wanting to play and what to do and how you want to play out events, or if you want to play on just a server and you want a bit of change, you can go on different change. Miscellaneous, because there's more variety when it comes to having features, so such as traces. If you want to practice your aim, you can see the traces, what bullet does what, see if mini balls do what pritchy balls do, how far shotgun fires, how far the cannons fire, how far the mortar fires. So there's more you can do when you can see which maps. So maps I've put in the middle, as I like the fact and the maps and War of Rights is realistic, but BCOF has, you can have random maps, you can have maps that are made by the developers, you can make maps, so it depends. Infantry, because BCOF has set infantry, but there's more variety to each one. So you've got regimental staff, you've got your drummers, you've got your pioneers, etc. But War of Rights has realism when it comes to the maps. So, and which infantry is on it, what stuff they have, what guns they have, it's just all that stuff. Artillery, I have put in the middle as well, because there's choice when it comes to artillery and how it fires and how it looks in BCOF, but there's something about War of Rights artillery and which ones were the battle and made it accurate to that, and what cannons they had there, and it feels better when you're using the cannons in War of Rights because the explosions, there's more devastation to it, you can say. But as well as that, there's nothing better than we're playing War of Rights and seeing a line go up in like a red mist. But yeah, so there's that. And then the last bit is realism for War of Rights, because the graphics look amazing, the maps are accurate, and you know it's really nice. The gunfire is pretty much you can flick up sights and you know range rifles, or it's just I like it. You know it's nice. So depending on what you want to play and how you want to play, you know if you want nice melee and you want more variety, BCOF is where you want to go. It's you know it has the game modes, it has the miscellaneous stuff to practice. But if you want something with historical accuracy, you want nice devastating battles of lines firing at each other and then people dropping and cannons blowing everyone up. For realism and maps and your infantry being accurate, War of Rights is where you want to go. So, you know, that's it. But so, thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this and you know want to see more like this, let me know, and I'll let you go. See ya.
Quick! Get out! Get out of here!